Hello there, my name is Florian and I welcome you to this special episode of IT Tech Tips. In this special episode I'm going to show you how I have upgraded my YouTube Creator Workplace to go from this to this. In this new workplace I've installed acoustic absorber elements, a Rodecaster Pro for signal processing and a new Rode NT1 microphone. I'm going to review the Rodecaster Pro and the Rode NT1 in this episode with some sound checks before and after, and I will show you how to mount the acoustic elements to the wall so they are still removable when you have to move or when you want to rearrange stuff in your workplace. If you are here just for the Rodecaster review, I put the time marker in the description so we can jump right to it. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy an entertaining making of episode. Let's have a look. Typically, you will just glue the acoustic absorber element to the wall and that's that. But if you moved out of the apartment or you wanted to change something in the arrangement of the acoustic elements, you would have a very hard time removing them from the wall, and it's also very hard to remove the glue from the wall, and it's just a mess. So I show you the way I did it. First you have to cut a thin piece of wood. I used a 3mm plywood. Cut it a little smaller than the size of the acoustic elements and drill some holes in the corner. The holes must be large enough to fit a screw completely through so we can hang the acoustic element in it like a picture on the wall. Then you apply the glue. Make sure you use a compatible glue for the acoustic elements. And then you mount the acoustic absorbers to the plywood so you can just hang them on the wall like a picture. And now the time lapse to show you how this looks in real life. After evaluating a lot of microphones, I decided to use the Rode NT1 because the frequency range of the Rode NT1 is as flat as it gets. Also, the Rode NT1 is for around $200 US, probably the best microphone you get. If you know another microphone in that price range which achieves the sound quality of the Rode NT1, please let me know down in the comment section. If you compare the Rode NT1 to the slightly cheaper Rode NT1A, you will notice that the NT1A does not have as a flat frequency range as the NT1. Having a flat natural frequency range is important because if you want to post-process an audio signal, it's important that you record it as dry, that means with as little echo from the room as possible and as flat as possible. You don't want the microphone to emphasize some frequencies as with the NT1A in the typical voice range and treble range. You want the signal flat so you can post-process it to your liking. Now some technical data and my personal rating of the Rode NT1. The Rode NT1 has a 1-inch capsule, so it's a condenser microphone. A condenser microphone means that it catches a lot of sound even if you're further away from the microphone or closer to the microphone. In contrast to a dynamic microphone, which emphasizes your voice a lot if you're close to the microphone, but if you're far away from the microphone, a dynamic microphone will probably not catch your voice at all, or the signal would be so low that a noise gate would cut the signal off. A dynamic microphone is well suited for environments which are not silent, which have a lot of room echo, which are close to the road. But my room is pretty silent, and with this rebuild of my YouTube creation workplace, I also eliminated a lot of the echo of the room. So a condenser microphone is the way to go. The Rode NT1 is pretty quiet, it has less than 5 decibel of own noise, and it's also very sensitive. It's also very sensitive if you also by accident touch the microphone. I'll show you this. This was just a really light touch and you will hear it clearly in the recording. Also, the microphone has a tendency to distort easily if it's not leveled correctly. So if you level it too loud, the signal will be quickly distorted. The frequency range is from 20 Hz to 20 kHz, which is about the range the human hearing has. The microphone, of course, is connected with a symmetrical or balanced XLR connection, and it weighs about 400 grams. The microphone, depending on in which country you bought it, comes with a 1 or 2 year warranty, but if you register the microphone at Rode.com, you will get an extension to 2 years warranty free of charge. So the first thing you should do after unwrapping is registering your microphone with the registration number at Rode.com. Also, the microphone comes in black. I would rate this microphone a 9 out of 10 with proper leveling. I think it's the best microphone you can get for around about $200 US. With the rebuild of my YouTube production workplace, I wanted the workflow to be as easy as possible. In other words, I want my voice signal processed directly into the camera I'm using for recording, for example this video, and I do not want to do any post-processing of the audio signal because it's just a lot of effort and I want to save time. So the Rodecaster Pro seemed like the perfect choice for this. It's super easy to use. You can get it to work without any previous knowledge in about 10 minutes after unwrapping. It's got presets for mainly Rode microphones, but also for some third-party suppliers. The presets, for example, decide whether to put a phantom power to the cable or what the level of the microphone is. And you should make sure after unwrapping that you update to the firmware 2.1 at the time of the recording of this video, because in this newest firmware 2.1, Rode really listened to the community and they enabled the advanced users to modify the audio effect presets which come with the device. The build quality of the Rodecaster Pro is pretty good. It's got a metal and plastic case in a sturdy quality. I think for the price of around about $550 US, you really can't expect a better build quality. The Rodecaster Pro includes some important effects you will need for voice recording, like a noise gate, a compressor, a treble generator, which sounds really good from FX. It's the oral exciter. It comes with a bass generator, also from FX, the big bottom, and some more effects like ducking, noise gate, de-esser, and probably even more in the future. It's important to know that the Rodecaster Pro is a device for recording audio. So in my case, I needed to connect the Rodecaster Pro to my camera, which is not a supported scenario by Rode. But as you can hear, it works pretty well. In a few minutes after the sound checks, I'm going to show you how to connect the Rodecaster Pro to your camera. The device has 8 pads to which you can assign audio samples. For example, an applause or a laughter or your intro jingle or outro jingle or stuff like that. But the pads have no pressure point. So if you want to play a sample, you will not feel it with your fingers that you pressed it. In my opinion, this is pretty bad and Rode should fix this with the next hardware release of the Rodecaster Pro. The microphone amplifiers are of high quality, but the headphone amplifiers for the output signal are rather mediocre. Bottom line, I would rate this device a 8 out of 10 with the firmware upgrade 2.1 or higher. I can really recommend buying this device if you are in a similar scenario than I am, or if you want to use this device for recording in another place than your studio, because it comes with an internal SD card slot. You have to buy the SD card separately, and the recording quality is really good for this price. Now let's hear some sound checks I did with the Rodecaster Pro using the default settings of the audio effects. This is the Rodecaster Pro using no effects on channel 1. Peter Pan likes pizza with pickles. This is the Rodecaster Pro using just a compressor effect on channel 1. Peter Pan likes pizza with pickles. This is the Rodecaster Pro using the compressor and oral exciter on channel 1. Peter Pan likes pizza with pickles. This is the Rodecaster Pro using just the compressor and big bottom on channel 1. Peter Pan loves pizza with pickles. This is the Rodecaster Pro using compressor, big bottom and oral exciter on channel 1. Peter Pan loves pizza with pickles. This is the Rodecaster Pro using compressor, big bottom, oral exciter and de-esser on channel 1. Peter Pan loves pizza with pickles. As I've mentioned, the Rodecaster Pro is a device meant for recording directly into the device. If you are in a similar scenario than me, in which you would like to have the signal processing outputted to your camera, you can do it like that. Of course, you have to connect your microphone to one of the microphone channels of the Rodecaster Pro, and then you use a headphone output, which is a TRS 6.3mm or 1/4 inch jack, and connect the cable to your microphone in of your camera. Of course, your camera has to have a microphone in, which is in my case a TRS 3.2mm or 1/8 of an inch. And you should tune down the input level of the camera as low as possible. In my case is setting 2 out of 20, and you should start experimenting with the output level of the headphone output of the Rodecaster Pro. I started at about 9 o'clock and worked my way up to 10 o'clock, with which I got the best signal to noise ratio. All the audio you hear right now is recorded in the way I described here. Of course, you should slide the microphone fader all up so you have a consistent audio signal over all of your recordings. As I said, it takes some experimentation with the input and output levels, but in the end you will get a pretty decent audio signal, and it saves you a lot of time because you don't have to copy the internal audio recording to your video editing software and then synchronizing the audio with the video and then cutting it all together. So I suggest that you invest half an hour for experimenting with the input and output levels, and in the future you save a lot of time. Now, after all this effort we have put into rebuilding the YouTube creation workplace, let's listen to the before and after of the audio quality. This is a sound check using the Rode Videomic Pro connected to the Rode Wireless Go, without post-production. This is the Rode NT1 connected to the Rodecaster Pro with no effects enabled on the microphone channel. This is a sound check of the Rode Videomic Pro connected to the Rode Wireless Go, including additional post effects. This is the Rode NT1 connected to the Rodecaster Pro with audio effects enabled on the mic channel. This is a sound check using the Rode Videomic Pro connected to the Rode Wireless Go, without post-production. This is the Rode NT1 connected to the Rodecaster Pro with no effects enabled on the microphone channel. This is a sound check of the Rode Videomic Pro connected to the Rode Wireless Go, including additional post effects. This is the Rode NT1 connected to the Rodecaster Pro with audio effects enabled on the mic channel. Alright, I really hope that you've enjoyed this special episode of IT Tech Tips. Usually this channel is not so much about hardware reviews, but about IT knowledge in general. So if you're interested in gaining knowledge in various IT topics, please subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you don't miss the next episode. Stay tuned, see you next time.